Voices rising strong and true, healing hearts with wisdom new. Resonate, uplift, rejoice. Together we amplify the voice. Voices rising strong and true, healing hearts with wisdom new. Resonate, uplift, rejoice.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you all are having an amazing day. Thank you for joining us on this book launch, Resonate Healing Voices. And you guys, you are in for a treat. As a woman who has been on a healing journey and has healed and still healing, right? Y'all know it's a process. And but I just have the honor to be among such great women who have wrote a book together, right? Women and men, of course. And so we're excited to share their stories with you guys this evening. And so we're going to go right into it. Doctor, I'm going to start with you, Dr. Michelle, because thank you for allowing me to host your book launch of Resonate Healing Voices. So I just want to ask, as a visionary, what was your heart's mission behind bringing these voices together?
So the mission is because the world needs healing. And I put the call out, and actually some people I was given to ask to resonate with this. Because some of them I know I've worked with before in previous projects. And it's just that the world needs healing right now. And what specific way that I have these wonderful, wonderful, phenomenal practitioners from all different types of modalities that are here that came together to help us get the message out of healing, because we all done been through stuff in our lives. But I think like now, this is a time for now, because things are happening. We see it all the time, but this is now is a time because we want people to be prepared. But we gave an antidote for you with using our voices, telling our stories, sharing our stories about how you also can be healed.
And I definitely believe that's how transformation happens, right? However, they got to open up the book in order for that transformation to happen. So y'all better get the book on today. We're going to hear from Miss Sherry next. Why do you think it is important for this book to focus on professional holistic practitioners?
Wow, that's a great question. Thank you so much. I think now is the time for healers like ourselves to come forward in the world today. We have been called to be here. We have agreed to be here, whether we know it or not. And because of what is happening around the world and in our country, it is so important for those of us who have trained, who have studied, to step up into this moment and begin to bring the tools necessary to help those that are in need, inclusive of all circumstances. So this book is amazing, and I am just loving reading it as just a person who just wanted to, have something like this. And I wish this kind of tool was around years ago when I started my journey into the work that I do.
Awesome. Thank you. And just we're going to start back with you. I forgot to let each one of you guys introduce yourselves. So if you can introduce yourself and share your healing modality and area of expertise, please.
Yes. Sherry Burton-Stein. I am a yoga therapist in training. I am a 500-hour trained yoga teacher with an Ayurvedic background, and I'm also a certified aromatherapist. And the work that I do is working with individuals with trauma, those that have chronic disease conditions, and those who have neurological disorders.
Thank you. Anyone else can chime in, and everybody just chime in right after the next.
I'll go next. I'm Dr. Dela Michelle Villegas. I'm a board certified holistic health practitioner, trauma specialist, and clinical sexologist as well. My modality, or I have a few certifications, but I like to bring the perspective of something that doesn't often get talked about enough in healing. We always bring in sound healing, and we do yoga and things like that. But one aspect of trauma or healing that we often don't acknowledge is the how for women specifically, our trauma is often stored in our womb space. And trauma comes not just from sexual trauma, but also suppression and environmental experiences and things like that. So in the book, I speak a lot on that aspect in regards to how that ties into not being able to fulfill your life purpose and things like that because you have blockages and you're unable to move forward because you lose interest in creativity and joy and happiness because you're disconnected from yourself.
Powerful.
I told you she has an awesome chapter.
Next.
Good evening. My name is April Battle. I'm outside of Richmond, Virginia, and I am a 17-year licensed massage therapist. Massage therapy is my full-time, what I do full-time now, and it's an alternative form of healing. And I like to say, the body's designed to heal itself, and massage jumpstarts that healing process.
I love it. Thank you. Don't be afraid. You're next. Okay, the couple at the bottom, and then Makitha, I guess you go last. Is that Kelvin and Maria?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is
because of having internet disruption. Okay. So my name is Makitha Miller, and I'm a Ayurvedic practitioner as well as an Ayurvedic yeah. Okay, I lost you guys for a minute.
Yeah, Makitha, you're going in and out right now. Okay, while she is fixing that, okay, we're going to go ahead and go back to you guys.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Good evening again. My name is Maria del Carmen Rodriguez, and yes, I am a certified sound healer, practitioner of sound and vibrational therapies. Finishing up the doctoral in metaphysical science and integrative medicine with HPOC, Holistic Professionals of Color. And, expertise is a heavy word. Who really is an expert for, but if my love of interest and one that I like to share, whether you call an expert at it or a gift at it, is in the area of sound healing, and really the practice itself as I always mention, it's the practice before the hands touch the tools. So really understanding the practice, the rooted practice. And so if there was an expertise or expert side of myself, as I often say, that I know that I am privileged to literally I have the privilege of going back home. Back home is Maunabo, Puerto Rico, up in the mountains where my elders continue to practice the very holistic or modalities that is becoming mainstream now. It is my lived experience from birth. So if that's what you call an expert, then that's what an expert is. However, it is the original medicine that we all are understanding a little bit now better. And, for me, it's really personal. It's extremely personal. I give great homage to my family. That is where I learned to practice, where they are still up in the mountains. They still do the practice. And it's an honor to, bring it forward to specifically for prenatal, for end of life, and everything in between. We've done weddings, we've done funerals, we've done everything in between, and being part of, yoga studios. I like to say that we've done it from preschool to prison. How's that?
Okay, wow.
To prison, everything in between. So I look forward to actually learning more about you all.
Yes.
I love
All
it.
right.
So I am glad. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, no worries. Hello, everyone. My name is Kelvin Young, and I am a certified sound healer and co-founder of Soul Care Love with my beautiful life partner, Maria Del Carmen. And, we have opportunities to offer sound healing sessions to different people from all walks of life, where we go to yoga studios and wellness centers internationally. But we also go to places where sound healing may not be accessible to many people, such as addiction treatment centers, mental health facilities, prisons, shelters throughout Connecticut and beyond. I also work for Hartford Healthcare here in Hartford, Connecticut, particularly our psychiatric hospital called the Institute of Living, where I work with people from all walks of life that's dealing with mental health, addiction, and trauma issues. And my role and responsibility at the hospital is to bring more of a holistic approach, what they like to call integrated medicine, into the system of care, but offering practices like sound healing and yoga and meditation and Reiki and nature therapy to really help people really create a life that works best for them, not for the psychiatrist, not for the clinician, not even for their family members, but what truly works best for them as human beings. I'm also the co-founder of Toivo, which is a peer-run holistic healing center here in Hartford, Connecticut, which is funded by our Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, where people that's dealing with mental health, addiction, and trauma issues can learn about these holistic healing modalities at no cost. Because myself and my dear friend and mentor, the late Darren Drum, we believe that no one should be denied the benefits of yoga, meditation, sound healing, qigong, based on socioeconomic standing, psychiatric histories, or experiences with addiction, that these holistic healing modalities are literally for everybody. And one of the most important things for me to share that I'm grateful for today is that I'm also a person that's in long-term recovery, which means I haven't used alcohol or any other drug to deal with my own mental, emotional distress since March 6, 2009. And I'm a formerly incarcerated individual. Thank you. And in the book, I kind of talk about the healing power of recovery and how I found freedom behind bars, where I was able to find myself. I'll find the connection to that divine source that dwells inside of me and dwells inside of each and every one of you that's listening. So I'm honored to be part of this project, and it was such amazing practitioners of the healing arts, and I'm just honored to be part of this podcast here right now as well. So thank you so much for this opportunity, Dr. Michelle, to be part of it.
So welcome. You're so welcome. All of you. Thank you. And I will say from the book, nobody knew exactly what nobody was going to write up about. But what I loved about it, everybody's stuff in sync from the titles, how they, and the most important thing that I love too is that you're leaving messages to the reader. So there are special letters that each one of us as practitioners have written for you as a reader to get that. And I actually will, before we end the show, my personal letter that I wrote for the reader, I will read.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm glad we didn't skip over that because now I have a better understanding and like maybe like some of the audience that's listening, when you think about healing, you just think about the first thing pop up in my head is like herbs and stuff like that because that's what you hear. That is, that's what I hear. Let me just say that, and to hear the difference modalities, like you said, is teaching me. So I can't wait to read the book and actually just learn more about healing. You think it's one way, but it's multiple ways, right? So you guys that are listening, you get to have a treat, right? I hope you're listening and share. Click the share button as well. Um, Dr. Michelle, I can see the alignment that you have put together, like you just said, with your large vision of holistic healing for the mind, body, and soul. How is this book going to transform lives?
Amazing, because today she may be watching now. Today I was inboxed through a mutual friend that had got the book, and she actually wants to know more about Maria there. So that's what this how you want. This is how it's supposed to go. When that happens, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to connect with people, and then again, everybody has their own different belief systems, right? And like you said, you think about herbs and stuff. Well, some of the stuff that Makiva talks about is some herbal stuff that you can use. You said it. It's a 3-part thing: mind, body, and soul. We have to gather that when one of those modalities is messed up, it can trickle down to the other modalities, right? So it's best that we first get it set in our minds for a mindset change, right? Then we have to move our bodies, whether it's through sound healing, whether it's through movement. There's a lot of, whether it's through the Tai Chi, whatever it is, the body. And then we have the soul, because that's where it rests, right? That's where where it all comes together with the soul. So it's great to have all of these different modalities because with it all, there's transformation. And that's the beautiful thing of this. It's a beautiful thing to be transformed in your mind, your body, and your soul.
And Makiva, are you ready now to share with us?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. Glad you are back in here. Let's go.
Okay. So, yes, I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner. In my chapter, I talk about the event with my daughter having pulmonary fibrosis and having to receive a double lung transplant. And that was then, at that point, I had to take my gifts more seriously, because it was the breaking point that really challenged me. And so I had to practice and put to use everything that I had learned about Ayurvedic, which is a 5,000-year-old Indian traditional holistic practice in India. And so at that moment and at that time, I had to use the herbs, but I was already researching Chinese medicine. So I had to um, blend the herbs. So I had to use a little bit of Chinese herbs, a little bit of African herbs, along with Ayurvedic, because you know the demographics and according to her DNA. And I also had to put to use the therapies, which is the Abhyanga and the Rasayana, and the rejuvenation, and to target the rejuvenation and the longevity of this process that she was going through as she was on the transplant list, waiting to receive new lungs. And that's where the challenge, as a young people say, that's what put me in the game and took me out all at once. And so that's when your faith comes into a big play, and trusting yourself and the knowledge that you have learned, and trusting the gifts that God had put into you to use to help others. But I didn't know that it was going to be my own child that I was going to have to um, do this with. And so that experience also showed me that just with natural practices and traditional medicine, the miracle, the miracles, and it do work, it do help, even with Western medicine also played a big part, but the doctors were willing to work work with me, so we were able to work together to make this process as easy and comfortable for her as possible. Now, there was some pushback on certain things because it is Western medicines. They believe in what they believe, and I believe in what I believe in. But it worked out. And she is November 1st. I mean, yeah, November 1st. She'll be 4 years yeah, receiving her new lungs and stuff. So, and she can tell the story better than I can because it was her faith as well, and having to take the herbs because it became a headache. It became stressful for her because it was like, Mama is nasty, but it was helpful because there were times where she was in the hospital and there was 3 cases because at that time during COVID time, you had to have certain vaccinations in order to remain on the list of a transplant list. And each time after each vaccination, she was hospitalized, and each time the doctors would call me and tell me my daughter would not make it to the next morning. So that I would have to fly down there with herbs and and just not to be religious, but I had to be, the devil is a lie because he's not taking mine.
Mhm.
And God is going, and I just pray and ask God, Lord, if you gave me these gifts, I need you to heal through me and heal my child. And just let me know what it is I need to use, the amount, how to put it together. When I get to the hospital, I do, sneak it in, however, and she would come through every time, every time. And then the doctors, they stop with the pushback. So when I come, they let me do what I do. And they started to cooperate, and whatever I didn't have, they will order it for me. When I get there the next day, everything will be in her room so I can just do my part.
Woo! I got chills when you were saying that. Um, I don't know if nobody else did, but um, you did it anyway. It wasn't, you had your mind set and you
Yes.
went with it. And so what made you say yes to being a part of this book project? After you experienced that, now you wrote this book with all these individuals in it to share the healing journey. What made you say yes? What do you want your audience to know?
I want them to know that holistic medicine is not taboo. And God works, He works through the herbs. He put them here for a reason. They serve a purpose. And we need to stop being afraid of using and going that route, and just really go back to how it used to be and why it was. I said yes because it's Michelle, and I love her to death. And I love her to death. And anything that she touches and put together is is true, and it's real, and it's a purpose behind whatever she does, because that's how it is. God used her to put these projects together because there's people out there that need it, that's going to read it, and that's going to benefit from it. My daughter having pulmonary fibrosis, 2 things the doctors told her: she was too young to be diagnosed with it because she was in her 20s. And the second thing was, that's not a disease that was common amongst the Black community.
Hmm.
So she is a testimony to that, because as she was going through the process, she had not ran into anybody else that was of color that had pulmonary fibrosis. Maybe at that time, maybe now, because now chronic illness, we're starting to experience what is not common amongst our culture, but now it's starting to affect our culture. And so, but she is telling everybody about the herbs. She's telling everybody to go holistic. She's telling everybody to buy the books, read the books, because now that she have this big following, because people don't know what to do that are experiencing with severe chronic illnesses, and they are really giving up because they are allowing the doctors, Western medicine, to give them a timeline on their life instead of fighting.
Mm.
And that's something that we have to stop, because he don't decide when we come and when we leave. And so they can't put a timeline on our life. So she always say, if somebody tell her, well, your life expectation is 8 years. And then she'll ask them, well, what is your life expectation? You'll be gone before I will. And so, yes. But it's Michelle. Everything Michelle put together, God touches and blesses, and it's for a purpose, and it's for the betterment of the people.
All right. Thank you. How old is your daughter now?
She's 34.
34. Wow. Okay. Amazing. Glad she made it through that. And now that testimony of hers, people don't have no choice but, to believe if they want to believe, because she's a living testimony. So I love it. We're going to go ahead and take the 30-second break. And we're going to come and hear from the other Michelle, Dr. Michelle, when we come back.
Voices rising strong and true, healing hearts with wisdom new. Resonate, uplift, rejoice. Together we amplify the voice. Voices rising strong and true, healing hearts with wisdom new. Resonate, uplift, rejoice.
Y'all, now I want me a commercial. That was fire, Dr. Michelle. That was awesome.
Actually, that is our song. That is our theme song that I'm actually going into the studio to record. So that is the theme song, Resonate Healing Voices, that should be out in 2026. That is
Right.
the effects of this coming together.
Mm.
Wow. I'm getting chills. I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting chills about that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, yeah, I was jealous. I'm gonna be honest, but like, I'm gonna need one. Damn. Okay. We're back. You guys, if you're just now tuning in, you're tuning in to the book launch of Resonate Healing Voices, and you just saw the mini commercial that will really be coming out in 2026. You heard it here first. And so, I'm gonna say Dr. Michelle, but it's the other Dr. Michelle. I don't want to mess up your name, so that's why I'm calling you. So,
Everyone usually calls me Dr. D.
Arthur D.
Dr. D.
Dr. D. Okay,
Yeah.
because okay, great. I have a lot of questions for you, but we ain't gonna have enough time. But so I'm gonna just ask you the question that's
No
on the
problem.
paper. So one of the questions is, how does your personal journey of healing connect you to the chapter that you wrote?
Trauma specifically. I had a lot of trauma growing up, especially when it came to sexual trauma, unfortunately, starting from childhood. That was something that impacted me very heavily. Dealing with that, it led to a lot of depression, anxiety, a lot of other issues. And I tried to go the allopathic route of just doing counseling. And all they would do is just prescribe medications, and my symptoms progressively got worse. By the time I was like 24, 25, I started developing severe symptoms that mimicked someone having a stroke. I would go blind, I would go paralyzed, I would lose my speech, I would lose bodily function, I couldn't drive. I was having severe migraines to the point where one time I was driving and I blacked out while driving on the highway. I came through and I survived, thankfully, but no matter how many tests and exams they did, they couldn't find a physical cause to my condition. Everything came back fine. My labs came back fine. They thought it could have been cancer. They thought it could have been anything. I went through 15 different lumbar punctures. If you know what spinal taps are and how painful those are, I had 15 of them. I've had MRIs and all types during a short time period, and they couldn't find it. And it wasn't until going to the ER, one doctor came down from the psychiatric unit, and he pulled me aside and he's like, you know, the doctors were kind of stumped because they couldn't find a medical reason to why you're having these symptoms. And he asked, he was like, do you have a history of trauma? And I was like, where do you want me to start? Like, I have a long list of things I could share with you. And at the time, he said what I was showing was conversion disorder. I had so much stress stored in my body that I never processed, that it manifested in physical form to the point where my body was just shutting down. So I was, thankfully, at that point in time, I was referred to a mindfulness program where they did the whole body, mind, body, spirit treatment. And that was my introduction, even though I was already working in the medical field through allopathic medical routes. That was my introduction to how holistic medicine could treat trauma specifically. And I was in that program, and I went in one person. I came out a total different person, but I immediately jumped into learning more about that from there. And I went from being on all types of medications, having chronic PTSD, severe breakdowns, depressions, and things like that. And going through the holistic modalities, I was able to take myself, like, the doctors took me off of all the medications. I haven't had a depressive episode in over 5 years, no anxiety, no migraines. I don't have anything like that anymore. And all I do is take care of myself holistically through meditation, herbs, yoga, and journaling and things of that nature. But that kind of came into this because I think that we don't really realize how, I know a lot of the chapter does talk about sex, but the sex has more to do with, like I mentioned earlier, our womb health, how for women, we store a lot of our trauma in our womb space and our sacral chakra. And that specifically has to do with our ability to experience joy, our ability to create, our ability to explore pleasure and things like that. And when you're trapped in trauma and stored in trauma, you can't process that. So healing the womb space, healing, recognizing how that affects women and our sacral chakra in general, when we can heal that through healing our nervous system, regulating it. Because a lot of us in the environment that we live in, it keeps us in a dysregulated system. People don't realize just it's not just having physical trauma happen to you, but what happens around us, surrounding us, the environment, the constant fear, the constant stress, being in survival mode all the time, that suppresses our system and it keeps us dysregulated. And we need to be able to regulate ourselves. And one of the things that I'm trained in is neurosomatic intelligence, which has to do with healing the nervous system and literally rewiring your body and retraining your body to come out of survival mode, go into being regulated. So now the rest of the modalities you can absorb properly and get back to the place where you can heal yourself naturally and eventually get yourself off of medications and anything like that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Rewiring your body, that's what needs to happen, because I'm glad you came through all that and now you're able to share with us what works. And so make sure our goal too for this call, you guys, is for the people, you that's watching us right now here. We want you to contact who resonates with you, you know, and you contact them and get their services, you know, get the book. Also, because get the book for someone else, family members, because you don't know who could be dealing with some issues and they can overcome from them. I know someone the other day said, "Oh, my anxiety acting up." Why do you want that? Why would you claim that? You know, and so there is something healing, not just something. There's healing for us. So thank you, Dr. D, for sharing with us. Kelvin and Maria, let's see. I'm gonna ask both. This question is for both you guys. What message or transformation do you hope readers receive from your chapter?
Yeah, it just for me and my experience with addiction to alcohol and other drugs. I think we all know someone that's been impacted by addiction in some form, whether it's personally or a loved one, a family member, or coworker, or a community member. So just letting people know that there's hope beyond addiction. And for me, after many years of battling with depression, anxiety, and drug addiction, I truly found freedom from alcohol, from marijuana, from cocaine, from heroin, and even prescription opioids like Oxycontin, Vicodins, and Percocets. And for me, I began that healing journey in a drug treatment program while I was in prison. And it was within that prison program that, I learned about the transformative powers of yoga, meditation, sound healing. And honestly, I had a lot of misconceptions about these holistic modalities. I grew up in a very religious family. So a lot of times I thought these practices was against my faith. And be honest, I didn't see a lot of people that looked like us. I didn't see Black men in particular practicing yoga, meditation, sound healing. So I was like, that's for them. That's not for me. But I know the things I was doing prior to going to prison, it just wasn't working for me no more. So I had to try something new and different. And by stepping out of my comfort zone and utilizing practices like sound healing, and allow that to be a vehicle for me to go within, because I truly do believe that healing, recovery begins with inside of ourselves. And I was able to find that sense of calmness and inner peace, even being in a very hostile and restrictive environment such as prison. And, so most importantly, I was able to understand the root causes of my experiences with addiction. And from my own personal experience, I realized that it was the unhealed emotional pain that I experienced in my life, the unprocessed trauma that I endured that for me went all the way back to childhood, as well as the toxic chronic stress. Like all of that was at the root of my addiction. And for years, I reached for something outside of myself to find that sense of relief. And I found it in alcohol and other drugs, and it worked until it didn't. And I got caught up in that very, very vicious cycle of addiction. So, in our culture and society, we demonize, people that's addicted to alcohol and other drugs, but we glamorize other people's addictions, maybe to work, and other things. So there's different forms of addiction, whether it's a substance or a behavior. And that's why I believe that we all know somebody that's been impacted by addiction one way or the other. But there's another side to addiction, which is healing, which is recovery. And part of, my chapter is really talking about the holistic healing aspects of recovery, how we can use tools to really help us to address all aspects of who we are, because I believe in more than just our physical bodies. There's a mental, there's emotional, and there's a spiritual essence that makes up the totality of who we are. And I think healing is really recognizing our wholeness, you know, the flaws and all aspects of our beingness. And we delve deep into the wholeness. We understand the holiness, the divine spark that dwells inside of us. And for me, I really had to connect to that divine spark, the spiritual essence of me, to really help me to be my compass and to navigate through life in a way that truly works best for me. And it's by learning these tools and practices that allow me to really connect to the spiritual aspects, but also the physical, you know, the mind, the body, because it's all connected. Even though the Western medical motto, we tend to separate the mind and the body and the soul, but it's all one connection. And tools like sound healing allow me to, it's a holistic healing modality, and allows me to really shift the way I see myself, the world, and the people in it. And I think that's part of the healing process as well. So having the opportunity to kind of share our stories, because I think there's medicine with all our stories that we share. There's so much power and wisdom that when we share another story with another human being that maybe go through similar experiences, we could touch them in a way that truly sparks that story within them, so they're able to share with other people and maybe get the inspiration to really make the necessary transformation they need to make in their lives. So again, I'm just honored to be part of one of the voices to share that story.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and for me, yeah. And for me, you know, I mentioned earlier, you know, growing up, right? Growing up with a family that, or in an environment, you know, on the islands where you learn that I'm Afro-Latina. I look like this, right? So at first glance, my outer shell, it's like the second thing, once I open my mouth, oh, you Spanish? You know, like, I'm like, oh, but I thought you were Black. I'm Black. Yes, I am. Right. So it's for me, it's the culture about it. It's the traditions. It's the history. So let's take, you know, the only reason I look how I look is because the slave ships just stopped on the island of Puerto Rico, right? So when the Africans were enslaved by the Spaniards, many of them who were able to escape, they ran up to the mountains, right? And this is why that's the beginning of my ancestors up in that mountain. And in order for them to continue their practice from the motherland, they would continue the holistic practices that we know today, right? They're the ones that brought, you know, the breadfruits, all the root vegetables up to that mountain. They're the ones who brought all the fruits. They're the ones who brought all the herbs. So the practice that was done in the motherland, they had to do it for themselves up in the mountain, because that was the only way they could heal. They couldn't go to a hospital, right? So it was something that was the norm. It was my norm, right? After, you know, years passed, the community would go up to the mountain and my family would heal them, right? No matter mindfully, emotionally, even physically, they would go up and they knew of the family. Oh, they'll go up there, they'll heal you, right? Mm-hmm. And so again, because that was my norm, here in the mainland, you know, again, as I started to say earlier, in the 70s and 80s, when I would speak about these terminologies, these practices, I think that is when I learned the word hippie. Oh, you're a hippie. I'm like, a hippie? What's a hippie? But, you know, it just really, for me, again, fast forward today, particularly post the pandemic, there has been a universal shift, and it's not just universal. It's from universal to there's the people shift. And then from the people shift, there's the Black and brown shift, right? We are reclaiming what was ours.
Mhm.
And what was ours are these practices. We're unconditioning ourselves from the Western traditions or ways of healing.
Mhm.
And so for me, I have a hard time saying I'm a healer. We're all our own healers because that certifications, any of these certifications, they're forced on us because in the mainland, if you're not certified, you're not validated. There's not a single shaman that has a certification unless they want to have one, but it doesn't work that way. It's a rites of passage. It's cultural, it's tradition, it's who we are, it's in our DNA. This is how our ancestors healed, right? This is how our ancestors healed. So, today, when I see individuals, well, in the past, if I saw someone who didn't look like me, who was, Caucasian, and I would speak about these traditions and, oh, when we got sick, we just go in the backyard. And they're like, what do you mean in the backyard? I don't know. There's a leaf for that. You got a headache? There's a leaf for that. You got a bellyache? Oh, my aunt, she can do this specific paste, and she'll stick it on you, you got to wrap it around on a banana leaf. They're like, what? But it saddened me even more when I did see someone that looked like me, just like all of you beautiful women on the screen, and who I would speak about this, and they didn't know what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That to me broke my heart, because for me, it's like, how do you not know this? This comes from us. These practices come from ancient Kemet. These practices known as Egypt today, when you visit the pyramids, even today, on the hieroglyphic, you see us in yoga stance. You see us, laying with instruments, tools, right? You see us doing Reiki. And that was practiced by us 6,000 years before there wasn't even in Asia. But when we think of these modalities, we think of Asia, which is okay. But some of for me, it is so engraved in me because it's embedded in me. And I want to make sure that individuals who either are on the receiving end of holistic care or caregivers of holistic care, to make sure, this was in your DNA. You didn't just learn this. Your ancestors did do this. And make sure that you understand that what's happening is these practices are being wrapped with a little bow today and being resold back to us. They're being resold back to us, right? And I'll end with, one of the most embedded memories that I have. Everyone that moved from Puerto Rico started off in the Bronx, right? We started out in the Bronx before moving out. But I remember that in the top, the buildings, there was a courtyard where in the building there were individuals who lived from all over the world, right? And they would go down to the courtyard and do their practice, whatever that practice is. They were from Ethiopia, they were burning an egg. Us, we had the candles with, Jesucristo on the candle. Whoever or whatever part of the world were doing their practice and minding their business, right? Minding their own business. And what's embedded in me is that I remember the authorities coming and kicking everything to the side and arresting these adults. Today, these are the same people that don't look like us that have workshops called earthing, herbalism, all these things that people are paying all this money to attend, when this was something that we were and have the rights to do and receive.
I am speechless right now. When they want to hide something from us, they'll tell us it's not, we can't do it, or it's wrong, or
Demonize
put
it.
us in jail.
Demonize it, yeah. So one of our which is we have several other people who are not on the call tonight on our tonight, but Dr. Ray, who is the queen of and the person, the founder of Holistic Professionals of Color. I'm going to shout that out. Holistic Professionals of Color University. That is one of the stands. One of the key components of HPOC thing is if we heal ourselves, we heal our communities. That's one of the statements that is done. But that's one of her in her story. Matter of fact, she talks about how the culture has been what we were known to be doing as being a part of things taken away. And her she tells her story is living proof, my life and healing. She talks about what she had grew up on, and then she found, among her growing up and figuring it out that, not really is culture. Because, not too long ago, we just had the controversy and, seeing it with the movie Sinners, right? We, they, even though we know that was a, vampire movie, but some of the practices that she does was hoodoo practices. I tell people all the time to give them the education, and thank you, Maria, for going into that segue with that too. I tell people all the time, anytime when you say, oh, I got to take my purse up off the floor, oh, I got to spit on that broom, those are hoodoo practices. So I'm just, not those, when you say those typical things, you don't really understand. It's been passed down somewhere along the line. Someone gave you that as I did. Oh, don't sweep my feet against that broom, or stuff like that. So that's why I say it's very careful when we talk about these practices. I even go into the flow because I'm a sound healer as well. I do sounds. I use different modalities with the sound. I even do the music part of it, frequencies. And, I have people say, well, I'm not coming to that retreat because you believe in, that's just open up doorways, but you know who you are inside. There's no way to fear. Use your scripture behind you. Give us not a spirit of fear, right? So I also reflect on, give biblical stuff too, as well as relevant to today. So if we talking about sound, I give them typical scriptures. I tell them about the storylines, right? The storytelling. I tell them about, God gave Saul that spirit. But when David came around and played the lyre, what happened to that spirit? It removed. Well, that was nothing but the frequency of the sound, of the power of the sound. When he said, blow your trumpets, go around the walls, those typical things, the walls collapse, sound. It's just that we have to have an open mind and an open heart. That's why I say I want us to resonate healing, because this is one thing that I left on. I was on a show last week. Supposing if what you're listening to is stopping you from resonating and getting your real healing, I'll just leave that point right there. That part, as they say.
I love it. That was good. So this, I got another question, and we're gonna wrap it up with some encouragement that you guys are gonna leave the audience. But April, definitely want to get to you. A lot of people are, I think, talk about self-healing and no, self-care, and massages is one. Well, no, they think getting their nails done and things like that is self-care. But one of the people in the Bible, I believe it was Esther, who was getting a massage for a whole year. I'm like, I would love to do that. So you have an important job over there, April. And so one of the questions I have for you is your practice that you have. If it was a theme song, what would it be and why? If your chapter was a theme song, what would it be and why?
That's a very good question. If my chapter was a theme song, what would it be and why? You might have stumped me on that one, but I would say I'm going to go with There's a Balm in Gilead by Karen Clark Sheard. And I chose that because massage is also spiritual. Right. There is, when I use massage, I actually operate in the gift of healing. And this is pretty much the tools that I use, my hands, right?
Mhm.
So I've had clients tell me, oh, were you using hot stones during my massage, or did you put something on me because I felt my body get warm? I'm like, no, I don't have any hot stones on right now. I'm just using my hands. So that is the balm and the anointing that
Mm.
God has placed on me, and the gift of healing that I use, operate with my hands, and helps people's bodies to heal themselves. So
Wow.
that's the song I would pick.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And you explained it really well of like why you chose that one. I have one masseuse in my phone that operates like that. It's a difference. It's a big
Mm-hmm.
difference. If you go get a massage anywhere, I'm like, these people can't do no massage. These people can't do a massage. Nobody can do a massage. They do it, but healing is
Mm-hmm.
different. Does that make sense? Hopefully it
Yeah.
makes sense. So I'm not,
Yes.
they can't massage and they not certified. We talked about that. They got the certification, but
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean they supposed to be doing it. But that's my thoughts, and I'm gonna get off of that.
April, I have to schedule an appointment with you. I'll fly out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Where are you?
Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, good.
Oh, nice.
But if
Yeah,
Um,
you're in Connecticut, I can come to you. I don't mind traveling.
Charlotte, Charlette,
Charlotte. Yes.
look, I wanted to mention, I just remembered I didn't exactly say what my chapter was. And I thought I would just jump in as we're closing. One of the things that I learned years ago when I was in corporate and working for the federal government and so forth is not resting. I think that's one of the most important things that all of us could do, whether you're a woman or a man. And we're seeing so much now about the power of rest. And my chapter really goes into restorative yoga, not just hatha, vinyasa, kemetic, all those great ones, but how do we rest? And I've noticed that the theme throughout this discussion this evening was about nervous system regulation. And of course, I do work with trauma individuals. I work with cancer individuals because they are feeling trauma, nervous system, depression. We have people with burnout. We have all kinds of things going on, especially right now. And there's studies that have shown that particularly racialized trauma can help um, through restorative yoga. So, what I talk about is learning how to rest using bolsters, pillows, whatever you have around you, and the power of restorative rest, and how I discovered it through a friend, through church and who would put us in the basement of her home, had no idea. I'm like, this is yoga? I'm resting on So I just wanted to say to those who are listening tonight that rest is very important. It's part of our self care, it's part of all of the things that everyone talked about. And my chapter talks about that. And I also have a letter to the reader about the importance of rest and using yoga as a way of resting. So I just wanted to name that. Thank you for giving
Resting.
me that
Yeah.
opportunity.
I am learning how to rest. Don't laugh at me, but I just turned 40, and
Okay.
that's I'm learning how to rest and be more attentive to what I need at that time, no
Hmm.
matter what needs to get done. And that was really hard because this stuff got to get done, but I need to rest first and then get it done. No matter, because it's a lot. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna still be there.
Hmm.
So, but I'm learning to take care of me first. And
Yeah.
so, um, how do you do that when you've been taking care of people all your whole life? And so it's a practice. You got to practice resting when it should be something natural, but it's not.
And
Or
breathing. We
breathing.
don't know how to breathe.
Breathing.
I have taught so many people on what it's called pranayama, but the breath. And through COVID, the breath was so important. And how to breathe, how to set the nervous system through breath, or is another tool that I like to teach people. So those were my tools that I shared in the book. So thank you. And thank all of you. I'm so impressed and want to connect with each and every one of you.
I am
Beautiful.
too. I am too. I'm gonna make sure I follow each one of you guys on your socials. Before we get out of here, each one of you is gonna share what you got coming up next. What projects are you working on? And leaving a word of affirmation for the people that are tuning in. What with that word would you leave them to affirm them? So we're going to start with April. There's no particular order. We're going to start with April, and we're going to end with Dr. Michelle Hammond. Go ahead.
Coming up, I am currently getting ready to post about some massage classes that I can teach, that I'm teaching, not if you want to be a licensed massage therapist, but just as an individual, whether that's a couples massage or even infant massages for a baby. You can come to class and I teach you to massage your infant up to 6 months old. Something I can leave with people is your healing regarding massage is not just a physical healing, it's a mental healing as well. And that's what we need to focus on, because pain and things in the body and stress in the body is life manifesting. So it's not just dealing with the body, we deal with the body, but we deal with the mind as well in massage. So keep those two together and that begins your healing.
And the affirmation. What word of affirmation? Word or affirmation or word of gratitude that you will leave?
Word of gratitude I would leave is just be thankful that God has shared the knowledge that we can obtain to learn a different way of healing. Know that there is an answer.
I like that. Thank you. I guess y'all just want to stay on here.
I'll go next. I believe in divine alignment, and a lot of the things that Maria del Carmen was saying in regards to the holistic modalities in the medicine being rooted in our culture. I actually have a book coming out next Friday called Rooted in Wisdom, and it's dedicated. It's an offering to my ancestors, but it's dedicated to the healing communities, and it's literally about decolonizing herbalism and holistic modalities and reclaiming the medicine that was ours and for so long taken from us, stolen from us, and like she said, rewrapped and hidden behind a paywall. And in order for us to be able to practice, we were stripped from the rights, laws were created, we were banned, our ancestors were unfortunately murdered, killed, and imprisoned for practicing. But then they took our medicine and made it theirs, took away the real medicine from it, and rebranded it, and now they profit from it. And now that they see that so many of us are trying to reclaim it, now they're making a profit off of it by putting a nice little certificate behind it and claiming themselves as the specialist. And now it's getting deemed as real medicine because they said so, even though we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the earth medicine that has kept our people alive for centuries. So that's the project that I have coming out. And like I said, it's Rooted in Wisdom. It comes out this Friday. Well, not this Friday, but November 7th. And again, healing and natural medicine is your birthright. Being whole is your birthright. And don't be scared to tap into what's divinely yours
Ah,
through DNA and through it's always been yours. They told you to be scared of your ancestors, to be scared of your healing practices, because it's easier to manipulate and control you when you don't know who you are. You're more likely to believe the lies they tell you than to believe that you are the divine in physical form.
That's a word. That's a whole word. Thank you.
I'll go next. One of the things that I do and teach is aroma point therapy. And starting next year, I am going to be doing an 8-week mentorship program which is going to be hybrid. And aroma point therapy is looking at acupressure and aromatherapy essential oils for different conditions, whether it's a headache, for example, or if you're dealing with carpal tunnel, or maybe you're feeling socially anxiety, having some anxiety. So I'm doing that. And I'm going to say, Dr. D, I've got a couple of books coming out. One is on color therapy and aromatherapy, and the other is looking at Vedic astrology and aromatherapy. And those will be coming out probably the first 6 months of the year. My affirmation is rest is your superpower. And I definitely believe that. One of my mentors, Dr. Gail Parker, who is a psychologist and known yoga therapist, coined that. And I definitely believe that. So peace and blessings to all. Thank you.
Yes, and congratulations. Good luck to you on that.
Okay, I'll go. The project I'm currently working on right now is I'm coming out with my own Ayurvedic massage oils. There'll be two. You have the aromatherapy, which is essential oils, a body massage oil, and then you have the herbal infused massage oil. So it's for nourishing and balancing the mind, body, and spirit, and also affirmation healing. Healing begins the moment you choose peace.
ooh.
Mm. Healing begins the moment you choose peace. I like that.
Right. Yeah, I love it. Well, Maria Del Carmen and I, we have a sound healing trainings that we do. We just had one yesterday. It went very, very well. So we have the fundamentals of sound healing for professionals. So we train therapists, clinicians, recovery coaches, wellness practitioners that want to learn about sound healing, how to integrate it into their own private practice or to their organization or agency that they're at. We also have our own blend of cacao from the Peruvian and farms in Ecuador as well too. A special blend with all the spices ingredients like ashwagandha, mug fruit. They got reishi mushrooms, all the nourishment that our body needs to thrive in our lives. I also have a audio course called Sound Healing Essentials for Sobriety. So anyone that's looking to incorporate sound healing into the sobriety pathway, recovery pathway, you're more than welcome to purchase that as well. We also have a sound healing one-on-one mentorship for people that take our training. To really, because it is an ongoing practice, I believe we're both students and teachers at the same time. We learn the wisdom that we get that gets passed down to us. So we take different trainings and we share it with other people. And the thing that I would like to leave with us, all of us, is Maria Del Carmen, she often says, in sound, we are one. And I believe that we're all interconnected. We're all interconnected. And sound just really connects us because we're all vibration, we're frequency, we're energy. And there's so many different expressions of that, you know what I mean? But in the energetic level, we're all at one. In sound, we all else one. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity to be here today.
Yes, thank you. So for myself, aside from what was mentioned, I am working on a support for, support for me is not the word I want to choose later, but for right now, women in menopause, like men pause, right? Menopause, right? So I want to lift that conversation up. I think we are the first generation to speak out on it, to speak open about that it's not taboo. I mean, all we learned was like, oh, our aunties got hot, but we didn't learn what it actually is happening in our bodies, right? So I really want to open up conversations with that online. And one of the platforms that I will be doing that is when I'll be relaunching my podcast that I had since started in 2017, but I'm rebranding it, renaming it as Healing Sounds, Our Voices. Because instead of sound healing, although that's great, but healing sounds, our voices, all of the instruments and tools that we use are really wonderful. They're great. They're impactful. But as we all know, the number one tool that we have that is the most impactful is our voice. So in the streamline of sharing, exactly what we just did today. This is right. What we did today was healing sounds, our voices, right? Is using our voice to heal. And then last, in the spring, early next summer, I hope to be releasing also my own line of essential oils and soap, utilizing the plants and herbs from back home up in my mountain. So it is going to be grown from home, homemade, and continuing the gift of healing that my ancestors brought from the motherland.
Awesome. Can't wait for it to come out. I'm excited. I gotta go. Dr. Michelle, even though I wasn't in the book, you guys, I'm thankful to have been on this, to be able to host this and hear all you guys' stories. And I'm not, well, I am a healer. Look, I can admit that, right? But I'm a healer through my voice. So I'm a speaker, author, and I believe and know that words transform lives. So again, like Maria just said, that's what we're doing right now. Somebody is going to get the victory from one of you guys' stories, or if not all, because that words transform lives. And so 2017, when my mom passed, nobody talks about that, right? When someone passes in our community, right? Not in mine, especially growing up, you just cry, right? And do the steps. You know, nobody talks about the grieving side, but I was really spiraling out. And if I would have told somebody what was going on in my mind, they probably would have thought I was crazy and admitted me somewhere. But I used what I knew, and I know you can heal from anxiety, depression, and all of that stuff. But I read a book that changed my life that day, and I got the victory from this lady's story. The book, I had the book for 4 years. I never read it, but it was out of place on the shelf, and I was praying, and I got to the book, and I read it. Everything that she was going through, I was going through the exact same thing, literally, from not being able to talk, not even being able to stay at home by myself. But I got the victory that night through that book, which led me to victory. So everything I do is victory. We already got the victory, just walking it out. And so know that if you're listening and you're tuning into this, that you already have the victory. There's an answer for you. And just, I think, Kevin, you said it earlier. There's another side to addiction. If you have an addiction, or if you have anxiety, if you have depression, or if you're sick in your body, there's an answer. There's an answer for you. And so know that you already got the victory. That's the first step. And just, hey, just walk it out. So that's who I am. The Victory Queen, sharing victory strategies with believers and leaders so they can win no matter what. Thank you, Dr. Michelle, for having me here.
Yeah, thank you. And before everyone goes, I just want to say to the team, there's some that weren't here tonight, but I just want to say I greatly appreciate you. And for the audience, and Charlotte, if you have to go, before I get rid, I want to do this expert because I want to read this letter that I have to the reader from me. And I think it's so sound and so profound to wrap it all up for all of us. So it says, "Dear friend, life has a way of testing us in seasons when we least expect it. The weight of trials can feel heavy, and at times it may seem as though healing is out of reach. Yet, I want you to remember this truth. Even in the midst of your struggle, your soul carries the seed of renewal. Every scar you bear is not a sign of defeat, but a reminder of the battles you have already overcome. Healing is not quick, nor is it always visible at the first glance. It comes in quiet steps, a breath that steadies, a tear that releases, a smile that returns days after silence. Trust these small moments are evident that your spirit is mending, piece by piece. When trials arise, see them not only as obstacles, but as teachers. They refine your resilience, deepen your compassion, and sharpen your vision of what truly matters. You are not defined by what has hurt you. You are defined by how you rise, how you love, and how you continue forward to hope. Hold fast to the faith. Anchor yourself in gratitude for even the smallest blessings. Speak kindness into your own heart as you would to someone you cherish. Speak kindness into your own heart. And never forget, storms pass. And when they do, they leave the earth nourished and ready for new growth. So it is with you. This is not the end of your story. May you walk boldly towards the light of healing, knowing that strength, peace, and joy awaits you. You are worthy of restoration, and you are never walking this journey alone." So I say good night to everyone. Thank you for joining us. You can get the book on Amazon. And again, Charlette, thank you so much for being our wonderful host. And we're going to leave out with our song, Resonate Healing Voices. Good night, everyone.